All right, team. Back to finishing up our plane. Right now, you're gonna need the tail section and your fuselage. We are gonna glue and set these together like so, and then work on our blade. So let's get started here. All right, so this is gonna point forward like this. I'm gonna actually remove and get rid of this part of the template so you can see what's going on a little better. So we have our glue that's gonna go just like this. So to get our glue on there, I'm going to just put out a little bit right here. And I'm going to take a spare chunk. Just want to get that somewhat saturated to right to about the end of that fuselage, or excuse me, to the point of the tail. Okay, so I'll have a nice bead of glue on there, and I'm gonna go a little bit more. I want to eyeball it so that I'm not having a bunch of extra glue. So we learned bunch of extra glue does not always work out well. I'm going to glue my tail down just like that. Now, I'm gonna let that set up for a second. To hold everything in place, I'm gonna use some pins in the cardboard. So I'm gonna pin it in one and get that set, 1 and 2, perfect. You can kind of try to have that. I'm going to use this little spare chunk underneath here. And I want that to kind of be a little bit canted more, so I'm going to pull that in, set another pin in there. Now, if you can see this from the top, you want this really a nice 90-degree angle, right? So you can see if it lines up on my fuselage, it's at a good angle, okay? Close to 90 degrees as we can get that. Now I'm going to let that there to sit and dry. As I look underneath here, I actually have a little bit of a gap in there, and I'm gonna push that up a little bit more and just get better contact with the paper all along there. There we go. There we go. I got a little bit of squeeze out, and that's okay. I'm going to grab a spare chunk of stick, and I'm gonna again just go in and clean that up. Okay, so there's my little cleanup on both sides. All right, I like how that looks. All right, again, there's nice and square. Got my 90-degree. I'm gonna let that just sit there and dry. That's gonna hold up that back end to the taper. And start working on my propeller. So what I need to do is I'm gonna spin my propeller, and note, there's one side that is heavier than the other, right? This side is heavier, hence it's the one that goes to the bottom. Now, when I wind my plane up, if one side of this is heavier, it's gonna give my plane a really bad wobble, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take a file here, and I don't wanna take off too much, right? I just wanna remove a little bit of material and give another spin. All right, this side's definitely still heavier. Now I'm gonna continue to do this until I get my propeller, which is nice and flat, even, and it just naturally is gonna come to a stop, and I'm not gonna have a low point, which I'm continue to have. But if I remove too much material, which I've seen kiddos do, right? You don't wanna be working at one end, and then next thing you know, you have another end that you have to deal with. Just remove a little bit at a time. You can always remove more. It's hard to add any more material. So just give, a couple of passes, and, right? So you're just gonna come through here. I'm getting pretty close. Still gotta remove some. So, I know this seems arduous, but part of the process, right? So don't go crazy when you remove. I got some kiddos who are gonna try and take off half of that. Ooh, we're getting closer. See how's it slowing down there on that rotation? Ooh, we might be getting pretty close. Let me, put this end here, still rotating to the bottom. I know. Trust the process. All right, there we go. It looks to be pretty, gosh, it's slowing down a lot on that pass. I'm getting very close. And I'm gonna, as I know I'm getting closer, I'm gonna continue to try to kind of curve that out. So it's not, I have no rough edges on there, which will help my flight. All right, so there, I gotta stop horizontally, right? I'm gonna remove just a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna call that good after this. I like making mine perfect. I know some of you guys are the same way. You can see I'm just removing a little bit of material at a time, so I'm not removing a bunch of material. There's two different sides to these. There's a coarse side and a smooth side. I've been using the smooth side. If you use that coarse side, it's gonna definitely remove more material. There we go. This is that coarse side, but you're gonna wanna try to finish with the smooth side, which is gonna give you a better, cleaner finish. All right, so calling that good on my propeller. All righty. So that's gonna take out a lot of that wobble. I wanna make sure this pin here is straight, so as I wind this up, it's gonna be pulling back, and just kind of play around. You'll see one way it winds and one way it won't, right? So we gotta wind it correctly. Cool. So I'm gonna wait till this is nice and dry. Got my propeller here that is level, and then I'm ready to put on my wing assembly next, which is gonna go on, glue on the top here, okay? So with that, Again, we're going to want to make sure it's nice and even, but I want to make sure that glue in the back is dry. This is the part here where if you rush it and you glue your wings on crooked, your plane's never going to fly very straight. So that being said, we're going to just hang tight, let that glue dry, give it probably overnight, and we'll check back with our plane in tomorrow, glue this on, and finish assembly.